Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Mangla. I'm working as an assistant professor for the BBA department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The subject that I'll be teaching today is Human Resource Management. Now, this is our fifth lecture and we were doing Unit 2. The topics that I'll be covering for Unit 2 are employee involvement, benefits of employee involvement, flexible work schedule, recruitment, objectives of recruitment, and recruitment process. Let's begin with the first one, employee involvement. Now, employee involvement basically means that when employees, they try to participate in the organization so that the organization can fulfill its objective. That is termed as employee involvement, when they are involving themselves in order to help attain the organizational goals. So let's see. Employee involvement can be defined as when employees participate directly to help an organization fulfill its mission and meet its objectives by applying their ideas, expertise, and efforts towards problem solving and decision making. That means it can be defined as that when employees are participating themselves. Why? So that organization mission or goals can be fulfilled and their objectives can be met. And how do they meet those objectives? By applying their skill, their idea, their expertise towards the problem solving and decision making process. So basically, it is what employee involvement is, a participative process that uses the input of employees. What is being used? The input of employees. Whatever efforts employees are giving, those efforts are being used to increase their commitment to the organization's success. So basically, why are employees working? They are working so that the organizational goals can be fulfilled, so that organization can achieve success. So employees' commitment towards that is increased. Second, regular participation of employees in deciding how work is done, making suggestion for improvement, goal setting, planning and monitoring of their performance. So this is also an important part, that employees are participating regularly and deciding that how their work is being done, and they make suggestion also. Their suggestions are also taken up for their improvement or for goal setting or for planning and monitoring of performance. So this is an employee involvement. Now there are certain benefits of employee involvement that we'll study. Those benefits are building community, better communication, enhanced morale, less stress, a healthy relationship among co-workers, creative thinking, greater productivity, and higher product quality. Let's see them one by one. Benefits of employee involvement. Building a stronger community. Now when we talk about building a stronger community, see, the organization is benefited by the development of an employee community. When an employee community is developed, then only organization is benefited. That is, when all the employees, when everybody takes part in the organization and everybody contributes their effort, then only an organization can prosper. With only the effort of one or two employees, organizational goals cannot be achieved. So everybody has to take part and they need to contribute their efforts. And when employees feel that they are treated as an asset and management consider their inputs, that build up the confidence among every team member, that motivates the employees. When your work is being considered, whatever you are doing, that is being considered, you are being given regards for that. So you feel motivated and your confidence is built up. This culture benefited an organization in different aspects. And because of this, organization is benefited in many aspects like productivity and loyalty. Employees' longevity is increased along with loyalty. Now with longevity, we mean that employee stays longer in the organization. And when an employee stays longer in the organization, obviously he becomes experienced. He gains experience, and when an employee becomes experienced, when he is a veteran, so he is able to train the other new upcoming employees also. He can even train the new employees. Now next is improving communication. Now employee involvement also improves communication. This is important benefit of employee participation. Why? Because employee participation is improving communication channel in the workplace. and breaking down the conventional communication boundary. Conventional boundary means that, at times subordinates do not feel very comfortable in sharing their views or in communicating with the higher authorities, but employee involvement removes those communication barriers and creates a communication channel in the workplace, so that, like, managers also have to communicate with their employees so that they can know their thoughts, they can know their ideas, they can know their fears regarding the company direction, and they can also figure out the problems in a workflow or in innovative ways. So that is only possible when a communication channel is developed, and which is being done through employee involvement. Then next is reducing stress. Yes, obviously stress can be reduced for both employees and employers. When employees are involved in the workplace, their stress will gradually reduce. Shifting from a company to another company gives workflow every time. When we shift from a company to another company, the workflow is shifted. We are given new workflow. But this uncertainty can build up stress. When you are shifting from one company to other, obviously some kind of stress is there because new work has to be done, new task has to be taken up. So if you are allowed to build up or to involve yourself in the company or to involve yourself among the employees, so you can just lessen the stress that you have. When stress will be less, the productivity will increase. If you are stressed, then it can have a serious impact on the health also. For example, you can have unbalanced blood pressure, headache, lack of motivation. So, and all of these are the causes. If you have such kind of problems, obviously these causes will reduce the productiveness of the employees. So employee participation in workplace increases the loyalty of the employees and reduces the stress among the employees by generating a communication channel. When you communicate with your friends, when you communicate with your colleagues, you feel less stressed. The work pressure reduces gradually. You are happy to work. So that's how employee involvement helps in reducing stress. Then boosting productivity. Now, if employees can share their feedback and their suggestion regarding the company, and they can get an appreciation for their suggestion, maybe their suggestion is good and they might get appreciated from the higher authorities for the same. And when this appreciation comes, a sense of confidence builds up in the employee that can help to make them more productive for the firm for the long run. When you are motivated, when you are confident, so that time you feel that you feel like working more, your productivity increases. And this occurs for a couple of reasons. This productivity increase, this confidence can build up not only just because of a feedback, but even because when you are less stressed, when you have a positive working environment, when you are feeling honored, when there is a commitment to look for positive changes, all these are the reasons that can make the productivity increase. Now next is increasing product quality. Now when we talk about product quality, employee involvement also makes the final product produced by the company much better. When employees are involved, when they are engaged, it increases the longevity. When employees are, they are working for a long time, as I told you before, they become more experienced, and when they are experienced, they are more efficient also. And an experienced employee will ultimately produce the best product in minimum time because he is efficient. He has been working for a couple of years, so he knows how the work has to be done. So he will be working efficiently. He'll be managing the quality of the product as well as producing the product in less time. So the employee longevity is again a reason which increases product quality. The next one, team cohesion. Now with cohesion we mean being united. Employee participation is again designed to provide every employee autonomy. It makes better relationship with employees and managers, as we studied earlier when we were studying the point of improving communication. In communication, managers communicate with their employees, and when you have a direct communication with your higher officials, a sense of your relationships get better, and this creates a positive work environment. You don't feel that hesitation to talk to your seniors, you don't feel that hesitation to ask anything. And when you are less hesitated, when you feel comfortable with your colleagues and with your higher authorities, so it creates a positive work environment, and each sees the other as mutually gained from their working relationship, that you consider everybody as a part of your team, and that team unity, that team cohesion builds up gradually. Then our last important point is innovation. Now, employee empowerment cultivates innovation. When you are empowered, when you have the authority to take up a task and to do it in your own ways, so employee involvement would produce innovative ideas, and you will think of new methods to solve the problem which has been given to you, or when any difficulty arises. And employees may realize that a particular solution for a particular issue differently than a manager, and that means, see, everybody has a different way of thinking. Maybe one problem has been given to a team, there are 5 members are in a team, so 5 of them might have a different suggestion to it. So that is how innovation works. When you are empowered to do something, when when your brainstorming is done, that is when the ideas are innovated. That is when brainstorming is done, that is when innovation takes place. When you look out for different solutions to a particular problem, that is when you try to innovate new things. So employee involvement again helps in innovation also. So these are the benefits of employee involvement. Now let's see the next topic, which is flexible work schedule. A flexible schedule or flexible work schedule, it is basically an alternative to the traditional 9 to 5 working day. Traditional means जो old तरीके से चला आ रहा है, like in bank the timings are maybe 10 to 6 or 9 to 5. Those are the timings. Do banks run at night? No, they don't run at night. Yes, their BPO sector works 24/7, but the actual banking sector doesn't works at night. So this is the traditional way. But flexible work schedule, what it does is it gives us a new way of working, where the employees can work according to their flexible timings. For example, when you have, you would have seen work from home. We at times see ads, or at times we get a call for work from home. What are those? They have flexible work schedule. So where work has been assigned to you, a deadline has been given to you. Maybe you need to submit a task in a week. You have been given 7 days. Now in those 7 days, it's up to you. Maybe you've given not 7 days, maybe you have to work in a week for, let's say, you have to work for 50 hours in a week. Let's just assume. So it's up to you then how do you utilize those 50 hours. Maybe you're working 10 hours each day. Maybe you're working 5 hours on one day and then 15 hours on the other day. So it totally depends on the employer, what way they want to work. That is flexible work schedule. That where the traditional method of 9 to 5 working is not followed, where employee is free to choose their way of working. It provides a motivation to the employer, where you feel happy. You can work according to your choice. So let's see. It is also an alternative to the 40-hour week. A flexible schedule helps workers to vary when they come in and leave their workplace. Obviously, in a flexible schedule, in a traditional method, you have a specific time when you need to enter the organization, when you need to leave the office. But in a flexible work schedule, it's up to the employee. The time at which you feel comfortable, you feel like working, that is the time where you work. So you don't have any specific work timings, any strict work timings that you need to follow. Now we also use the term for people who work at home. As I told you, this term is mainly used for the people who work at home. For example, for teleworkers, the term refers to being able to vary when people begin and finish work. So when are you beginning your work, when are you finishing work, it depends from person to person. Everybody has their own set of comfortable zone, and they like to work in those timings only. So that is flexible work schedule, where you work according to your timing. Now and not only this, there are some benefits, some pros and cons of this. Pros, let's just discuss some pros of flexible work schedule. If we talk about what are the benefits that you would think of flexible work schedule? Employees would be happier. We can say happier employees. Improved work-life balance. You can work according to your choice. increases loyalty, easier recruitment, people are hired easily, environmental sustainability, it boosted productivity. When you are happy to work, obviously productivity will increase, more diverse workforce is diverse, different, reduces stress, you're working according to your timings, you will be less stressed, less absenteeism. When you have the authority to choose your work time, obviously your absenteeism will be really less. Now these were some benefits. Let's see some demerits of flexible work schedule, some cons of flexible work schedule. Now, see, it's not that everybody will be loyal in the work. There are some who don't work for all employees, because see, this work schedule doesn't work for all employees. There are some who are very lethargic, who are very lazy, who have to be pushed to do the work. So for those kind of people, these work schedule don't work at all, because if you just let them free, they will not work. Then there are communication breakdowns. When you are working at different times, you cannot easily communicate with your colleagues, because everybody is having their set own time for working. So maybe the time when you are working, the other one is sleeping. So communication breaks down, reduces employer's control. Employer doesn't have the control on employees, because you're working from home, so control is very less. Employees take advantage of the policy. Yes, that's most important demerit. Employees can take advantage. Maybe they've been given a task and they're not completing it within the time. They think it will be done, and they're just carrying forward the things, and won't work for all jobs. Yes, flexible work schedule cannot go for all the jobs. For example, if we think of banks, can flexible work schedule go there? अगर मैनेजर चाहता है मैं रात को काम करूँ and the rest of the clerks want मैं दिन में काम करूँ, so that can't work. Everybody has to work together in a team. So flexible work schedule doesn't go for all the jobs. So that was all about flexible work schedule. Now we'll come to our next topic, which is recruitment. Now, what is recruitment? In human resource management, recruitment is basically the process of finding and hiring the best and most qualified candidate for a job opening in a timely and cost effective manner. Whenever there is a vacancy, what do we see? Whenever there is a vacancy in a firm, new people are hired, and that entire process of finding and hiring the best possible candidate, that whole process is termed as recruitment. Let's see the definition. Now, in the words of Edwin Filippo, recruitment is the process of searching for prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for jobs in the organization. We first search for the prospective, the ones who are eligible enough, and then we stimulate them. For example, you might have seen for example, you've uploaded your resume on Naukri.com. So there are some consultancies who constantly call you up, and they tell you that we have an opening, you can apply. They tell you about the whole job details. So what are they doing? They're stimulating you to apply. They're influencing you so that you apply. So it is a process where the process of searching the prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for jobs in the organization. It is one whole process with a full life cycle that begins with identification of the needs of the company. It begins, first we identify the need of the company. Need in what sense? With respect to the job. That what kind of place is vacant, what kind of candidate is required. First we identify the need, and ends with the introduction of the employee in the organization. Process starts with identifying the need and ends with the introduction of the employee. So when we identify the need, then we try to reach the prospective employee, we stimulate them to apply. Once they apply, the whole recruitment process starts, and once the whole process ends, it ends with the introduction of employee in the organization. That finally employee is selected, he is recruited, and he is introduced in the organization. So that is whole recruitment process is. Now there are certain objectives of recruitment process that we'll study. Recruitment is the process which links the employers with the employees. Yes, this is the main objective. It is only this process through which employers are and employees are linked with each other. Because when you are hired in a company, the first person to whom you contact is your employer. The one who takes the interview, that is the HR department, the one who discusses the salary, finance department. So everybody, they are basically your employers, the one who are keeping you for the job, the ones who are employing you. So it is a process which links the employers and employees. Now, the purpose of recruitment is as follows. Let's see. It attract and empower an ever increasing number of applicants to apply in the organization. Applicants are attracted and they're empowered to apply in the organization. Build positive impression of the recruitment process, and a positive impression is created for the recruitment process. That may be our recruitment process is very fair, recruitment process is very simple, so a positive impression is built for every organization. Then create a talent pool of candidates to enable the selection of best candidate for the organization. A well defined process is set so that the best candidate, see, for one vacancy many candidates are there who come to apply, but there are certain set of rounds that are carried on, certain set of processes that are carried on in recruitment. Why are those done? So that at last we select the best possible candidate amongst the all. Then next, to attract and engage people, it needs to achieve its overall organizational objectives. People are attracted and they are engaged. They are engaged in what? They are engaged in working towards achieving the organizational goals. लोगों को attract करके they are called for the interview. When they are selected, they are engaged in the work. Which work? The work which focuses on achieving organizational objectives. Then increasing the pool of job candidates at minimum cost. Yes, they try to increase the pool of candidates with minimum cost, that the recruitment process might not cost much to the organization. Then recruit right people who will fit into the organization culture and contribute to the organizational goals. Again, recruit such people who are the best employees, who are the best fit for the organization and for the job, the particular job that for which vacancy is there, or the particular post, and so that they can contribute their efforts towards organizational goals. Last one, determine current and future requirements of the organization, and in conjunction with its personal planning and job analysis. It basically means we need to determine the current requirement and the future requirement. कि अभी क्या requirement है organization की and what is the requirement in future. Everything has to be determined. So these are the objectives of recruitment. Now we'll see the recruitment process, which involves 5 steps. Now recruitment process involves 5 steps and the process is as follows. First one, recruitment planning, strategy development, searching, screening, evaluation and control. Now first step, the recruitment planning. The first step involved in the recruitment process is planning. Now planning involves to draft a comprehensive job specification for the vacant position. First step is we draft a job specification. We studied in the previous class job specification where all the details regarding the job are mentioned, and outlining its major and minor responsibilities. We outline the major and minor responsibilities which are supposed to be done in the job, the skills, experience and the qualification needed, the grade and level of pay, starting date, whether temporary or permanent, and attention to special conditions, if any, are attached to the job to be filled. So these are the basic things which are mentioned in the job specification. So that these are the things with which prospective employees can reach us, with which prospective the people who want to apply for the job, so that they can reach the organization. In case we don't put all these things, then any kind of employees might turn up, so that will be a problem. So that we have a gist prepared beforehand, that these are the minimum qualifications, this is the experience we require, this is the skill we require, तो ऐसे ही लोग ताकि apply करें. So that is why a planning is done and a comprehensive job specification is drafted. Then next step is strategy development. Now once it is known that how many with what qualification of candidate are required, then the next step is to devise a suitable strategy for recruiting the candidate in the organization. That what is the strategy, how will recruit the candidate, that has to be developed in the second step. So the strategic considerations to be considered may include issues like whether to prepare the required candidate themselves or hire it from outside. That means we need to hire from outside or we need to prepare the candidate from the organization itself. Second, what type of recruitment method to be used, हम किस तरीके से recruitment करें. Third, what geographical area be considered for searching the candidates, from where to search the candidates. Fourth, which source of recruitment to be practiced, which source to be practiced. Then, and what sequence of activities to be followed in recruiting candidates in the organization. That means what process needs to be carried on in recruiting. किस तरीके से recruitment की जाए. So all the strategy for all these steps has to be prepared once we have done the planning. So this is our second step of recruitment process. The third step is searching. Now this step involves attracting. Searching means we are just finding, we are looking for the prospective candidates. So how do we look? We have different job portals. For example, Naukri.com, LinkedIn. It's not that only the employees are linked there. The employers are also linked on those portals. At times you have your CV posted and you get a call from the employer. You get a mail for the same. Or you might get an application on Naukri.com only. So the employers also keep on searching for prospective employees on different portals. So they also search for the candidate. So searching involves attracting job seekers to the organization. There are broadly two sources. Now there are two sources used to attract the candidates. These sources are internal sources and external sources. We'll study these sources in detail in our next session. We have a complete topic for the sources of recruitment. Now, next step in recruitment process is screening. Now, though some view screening as a starting point of selection, but we consider screening as an integral part of recruitment. Applications are screened against the qualification. The people who are applying, we do the screening of their application. Against what terms? Against the qualification, their knowledge, skills, abilities, interest and experience mentioned in the job specification. And the ones who do not qualify, those who do not qualify these basic terms of our job specification, they are straight away eliminated from the selection process. That means the ones who are ineligible for the job, we straight away eliminate them, and the ones who are fit enough, who have the requisite qualification and requisite skill required for the job, they are the ones amongst whom the whole recruitment process is carried on, the interview process is carried on. Now this was our fourth step. Our last step is evaluation and control. Now evaluation and control of recruitment is required to ensure that the process has gone well. Why do we need to evaluate and why do we need to control? We need to evaluate and control so that we know that the whole process has gone well in the light of its stated objectives and cost. That जो हमने objectives set किए थे, जितनी हमने cost set की थी, the whole process is going on in the same way. That has to be checked. And the post-action of evaluation of a recruitment program has important implication for further recruitment programs. The post-action, once the recruitment program has been done, the post-action evaluation is important so that it can implicate the further recruitment programs. And there are certain costs. Recruitment process involves various costs, and that is why the evaluation is done so that we can keep a control on those costs. For example, let's say these costs are salary of recruiters, cost of time spent for preparing job analysis or advertisement expense, administrative expenses, cost of outsourcing or overtime when vacancies remain unfilled, or cost incurred in recruiting unsuitable candidate. All these are the costs which are involved in recruitment process, and we do evaluation so that we can control such cost. And this was our last step of recruitment process. Now we have the upcoming topic still left for unit 2, which we'll be covering in the next class, children. Now there are certain questions that you have to do. You can note down these questions. Define employee involvement and explain its benefits. What is flexible work schedule? Define recruitment and status of objectives. Explain the recruitment process in detail. You have to do these questions. Stay tuned for the next lecture of unit 2. Thank you.